6 months had passed since first contact. Vexthera floated in her observation pod near the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The Dominion mining fleet had arrived to begin joint operations with the humans. Huge ships with metal arms and drilling equipment moved slowly through the dark space between floating rocks. The humans had agreed to everything. They signed the protection treaty without reading the small print. They accepted Dominion bases on their moon. They even agreed to give the Dominion most of the valuable materials from their asteroid belt. It all seemed too easy. Lee Hyun was the human representative for mining operations. He was a middle-aged man with gray hair and a nervous smile. He wore a simple blue uniform that looked cheap compared to Dominion officer clothing. His small ship followed the massive Dominion mining vessels like a tiny fish swimming with whales. "Welcome to our asteroid belt," Lee Hyun's voice came through the radio. "We are so happy to work with the great Dominion fleet." Captain Zektor commanded the mining operation from his flagship. He was a large alien with purple skin and 6 eyes. His ship was 10 times bigger than any human vessel in the area. "Show us the survey data," Captain Zektor ordered. Of course, said Lee Hyun. "We have mapped every asteroid in this region. All the information is yours." Lee Hyun's ship sent data files to the Dominion fleet. Vexthera watched the transfer on her screens. The humans had surveyed over 3,000 asteroids. The data showed which ones contained iron, which ones had rare crystals, and which ones were mostly worthless rock. "These surveys are very detailed," said Mining Officer Vraltok. "The humans did good work." "Yes," said Captain Zektor. "But their analysis is primitive. They marked many valuable asteroids as low-grade ore. We will take the best rocks for the Dominion. The humans can have the scraps." Choi Mira was the second human representative. She was a young woman who seemed overwhelmed by everything. Her voice shook when she spoke to the Dominion officers. "Excuse me," she said over the radio. "Could you explain how your mining ships work? We want to learn from your advanced technology." Captain Zektor laughed. "Our plasma drills can cut through solid rock in minutes. Your chemical explosives are like using hammers against diamonds." "Plasma drills," said Choi Mira. "That sounds amazing. How do you power them? What frequency do they operate on?" "The power comes from fusion reactors," explained Mining Officer Vraltok. "The plasma frequency is adjusted based on the mineral composition of each asteroid." Choi Mira asked more questions. She wanted to know about the drill control systems, the ore processing methods, and the cargo transport procedures. The Dominion officers enjoyed showing off their superior knowledge. Meanwhile, Lee Hyun guided the fleet toward the first group of asteroids. According to the human survey data, these rocks contained medium-grade iron ore and some copper deposits. Nothing special, but good enough for basic construction materials. "We will start here," announced Captain Zektor. "Deploy the drilling platforms." The Dominion ships moved into position around a large gray asteroid. Mechanical arms extended from the vessels. Bright blue plasma beams shot out and began cutting into the rock. Chunks of metal ore broke away and floated in space. Smaller ships collected the pieces in their cargo holds. "Excellent work," said Lee Hyun. "Your ships are so efficient it would take us weeks to mine that much ore." Vexthera watched the operation through her telescopes. The Dominion mining ships were indeed impressive. But something bothered her. She looked at the human survey data again. The asteroid they were mining showed medium-grade ore on the charts, but the actual ore coming out looked even lower quality than expected. She switched her telescopes to look at other parts of the asteroid belt. Far away from the Dominion fleet, she saw something interesting. Small human ships were moving between asteroids that were marked as worthless rock on the survey data. The human ships were very small and painted black. They were hard to see against the dark space. Vexthera zoomed in with her best telescope. The small human ships had mining equipment too, but it was different from Dominion technology. Instead of big plasma drills, they used tiny, precise tools that barely made any light. They worked slowly and quietly. "Captain Zektor," she called on a private channel. "I am detecting some unusual activity in grid section 774. "What kind of activity?" asked the captain. Small human vessels conducting operations near asteroids marked as worthless in their survey data. Captain Zektor was quiet for a moment. Probably just research ships. The humans like to study things. Keep monitoring but do not interfere. Vexithara continued watching. The small human ships were not doing research, they were definitely mining. And the asteroids they chose were producing something that made their cargo holds glow with a soft golden light. Over the next few days, the pattern continued. The Dominion fleet worked on the asteroids that the humans had recommended. The ore quality was adequate but not exciting. Meanwhile, the small black human ships continued their quiet operations in the areas marked as worthless. Li Hyun visited the Dominion flagship every morning. He always brought gifts of human food and asked many questions about mining technology. "Your plasma frequency modulation is incredible," he said to mining officer Vraltok. "How do you adjust it so quickly when the ore composition changes?" "We use automated scanners that analyze the rock composition in real time," explained Vraltok. "The computer adjusts the plasma frequency automatically." "Computers that can analyze rock that fast," said Li Hyun. "Our scanners are so slow, it takes us hours to figure out what kind of ore we are looking at." Choi Mira always came with him. She seemed especially interested in the cargo handling systems. "How do you keep the different types of ore separated?" she asked. "Our storage systems are very simple. We just throw everything together in big containers." "That is very inefficient," said Captain Zektor. "We use magnetic sorting and gravitational separation. Each type of material goes into its own special container." "Could you show us how it works?" asked Choi Mira. "We want to improve our methods." The Dominion officers were happy to give tours of their mining ships. Li Hyun and Choi Mira asked questions about every machine and system. They took pictures and made drawings. They seemed amazed by everything they saw, but Vexithara kept watching the small human ships in the distance. She noticed that they always seemed to know exactly where to go. They did not waste time scanning asteroids or testing different locations. They went straight to specific rocks and began mining immediately. After 2 weeks of operations, Vexthara made a discovery that changed everything. She had been tracking one of the small human ships when it moved to a new asteroid. This rock was marked on the human survey as solid iron, low value. But when the human ship began mining, Vexithara detected energy signatures that indicated something much more valuable. She focused all her scanning equipment on that asteroid. The readings showed large deposits of trilithium crystals mixed with rare platinum compounds. These materials were worth 50 times more than simple iron ore. The humans had marked one of the richest asteroids in the belt as worthless rock. Vexithara checked her database of survey information. She found 12 more asteroids marked as low value that showed similar energy readings. All of them had small human ships working on them. She realized what was happening. The human survey data was false. They had deliberately marked the most valuable asteroids as worthless to keep the Dominion away from them. While the Dominion fleet worked on medium-grade ore, the humans were secretly mining the real treasure. Vexithara had to be careful about how she reported this information. If Captain Zektor found out immediately, he would take over all the valuable sites and the humans would know their deception had been discovered. It was better to gather more evidence first. She spent the next week documenting everything. The small human ships had advanced mining technology that they had not revealed during the technology demonstrations. Their cargo holds contained materials that did not match the survey data. Most importantly, they had been running this operation from the beginning of the joint venture. The humans were not the simple, honest species they pretended to be. They were running a sophisticated deception right under the Dominion's nose. 1-2. The morning that Vexthara planned to make her report, something unexpected happened. Li Hyun arrived at the Dominion flagship looking very worried. "Captain Zektor," he said, "we have a problem. Some of our survey data may have been wrong." "What? Do you mean wrong?" asked the captain. "We found some asteroids that are richer than we thought," said Li Hyun. "Our analysis equipment made mistakes. We want to share the new information with you right away." Li Hyun provided updated survey data for exactly 12 asteroids. They were the same 12 that Vexithara had identified as valuable. But now, the humans were claiming they had just discovered the rich ore deposits. "This is excellent news," said Captain Zektor. "We will move our mining operations to these new sites immediately." "Of course," said Li Hyun. "We want to be fair partners. But there is one small problem. Some of our research ships have been studying those asteroids for the past few weeks. They have taken some samples for scientific analysis. We hope that is acceptable." Vexithara understood what had really happened. Scout Vexithara watched the human settlement through her observation screen. The tall silver ships of the Galactic Dominion fleet hung in the dark space above the blue planet called Earth. Today was the day. First contact with another primitive species. The humans had sent radio signals asking for a meeting. Their messages were simple and full of excitement. They wanted to talk. They wanted to learn. They promised to be good friends with the mighty Dominion. Vexithara had seen this many times before. New species always acted the same way when they met the Dominion for the first time. The meeting room on the Dominion flagship was large and bright. Commander Zalthek sat at the head of the long metal table. His blue skin shined under the lights. His forearms moved as he spoke to his officers. "Remember," he said in his deep voice, "these humans are new to space travel. They know nothing about galactic politics. Be patient with them. Show them our power, but do not frighten them too much." Vexithara nodded along with the other officers. She had read the files about humans. They had only recently learned to leave their planet. Their ships were slow and ugly. Their weapons were basic. They would make good servants for the Dominion. Just like hundreds of other species, the human ship arrived exactly on time. It was small and white with strange markings on the side. Smoke came out of the back as it moved toward the Dominion flagship. Some of the Dominion officers laughed quietly. The human ship looked like a toy next to their mighty vessels. "They cannot even build proper engines," whispered Officer Krixta. "Look at all that waste gas." Vexithara made notes on her datapad. The humans clearly had poor technology. This would be an easy conquest. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. 3 humans walked into the meeting room. They were shorter than most Dominion officers. Their skin was pink and brown. They had only 2 arms each and small eyes. The lead human carried a large bag that looked heavy. "Greetings," said the lead human in a loud, happy voice. "I am Kang Wu, Chief Diplomat of planet Earth. This is Park Nari, our military advisor, and this is Li Jin, our science officer. We are so excited to meet you." Kang Wu smiled very wide. His teeth were white and straight. He walked forward, with big steps, and almost tripped over his own feet. The bag in his hands swayed back and forth. Commander Zalthek stood up slowly, his forearms spread wide to show his size. "Welcome, humans. I am Commander Zalthek of the Galactic Dominion. We have come to discuss your planet's future." "Oh, wonderful," said Kang Wu. "We have prepared so much information for you. We want to show you everything about our world." He opened his bag and papers fell out everywhere. Data tablets bounced. On the floor, a small device rolled under the table. Kang Wu's face turned red. "Oh no, I am so sorry," he said. He got down on his hands and knees to pick up the papers. "I was so nervous to meet such powerful beings." Park Nari, the military advisor, rushed to help him. She was a small woman with long black hair. "Kang Wu, you brought too many things," she said. "I told you to organize better." I know, said Kang Wu. "But look, I have maps of all our military bases and lists of our weapon systems, and reports about our mining operations." Vexithara watched with interest. The humans were showing classified military information right away. They were even more foolish than expected. Commander Zalthek helped Kang Wu stand up. "Please, sit down. We have much to discuss." The humans sat in chairs that were too big for them. Their feet did not touch the floor. Kang Wu pulled out a glowing tablet and pressed buttons on it. A blue light appeared above the table. It showed a map of Earth with red dots all over it. "These are our defense stations," said Kang Wu proudly. "We have 47 of them around our planet. Each one has powerful weapons and shields." "Park," Nari looked worried. "Kang Wu, should we show them this information so quickly?" "Of course," said Kang Wu. "We want to be friends. Friends share everything." He pressed more buttons. The map changed to show the inside of the defense stations. Vexithara could see the weapon layouts and power systems clearly. This was incredible. Intelligence information, and the humans were giving it away for free. Our weapons are not very strong compared to yours, I'm sure, said Kang Wu. We only have simple laser cannons and missile systems. Nothing like your amazing ships. Li Jin, the science officer, spoke for the first time. He was a young man with thick glasses. We have studied your ship designs from long distance. Your technology is so advanced. We could never build anything like that. How did you study our ships? Asked Officer Krixta. Oh, with telescopes and radio scanners, said Li Jin. Very basic equipment. We can only see the outside of your ships. We know nothing about how they really work. Kang Wu nodded quickly. Yes, we are very backward. We need your help to become better. Commander. Zalthek leaned back in his chair. What exactly does Earth want from the Dominion? Protection, said Kang Wu right away. We know there are dangerous species in the galaxy, pirates and warriors who might attack peaceful planets like ours. We will gladly serve the Dominion in exchange for safety. And what can Earth offer in return? Asked Commander Zalthek, Tenkang. Wu's eyes got very bright. So many things. We have rich mining worlds in our system, rare metals and crystals. We have millions of people who can work for you. We have food and water and beautiful places for vacation. He pressed more buttons. On his tablet, new images appeared showing mining operations on Mars and the Moon. The humans had been busy in their solar system. Vexithara made more notes. Parknari looked at the Dominion officers with wide eyes. Can I ask you something? Your weapons are very powerful, yes? How do they work? We have never seen anything like them. Officer Krixta smiled. Our plasma cannons use contained energy fields to focus destructive force, much more advanced than your primitive lasers. Plasma cannons, said Parknari. How exciting. What kind of energy fields? How do you contain the plasma without it burning through your ship walls? Well, said Officer Krixta, we use magnetic bottle technology with triple-layer containment. He continued explaining for several minutes. Parknari asked many questions and took notes on a small pad. She seemed very interested in the technical details. Meanwhile, Kang Wu kept showing more information about Earth. He revealed the locations of important government buildings, the numbers of their spaceships, and even the codes they used for military communications. I am so clumsy with this technology, he said, dropping his tablet again. Could someone help me pick this up? I think I pressed the wrong button and downloaded something to your ship's computer by mistake. Vexithara noticed that one of the Dominion computers was now blinking with a new data transfer message. The humans had accidentally connected to their systems. The meeting continued for 3 hours. The humans shared more and more information about their planet and defenses. They asked many questions about Dominion technology and military tactics. They seemed eager to please and desperate for protection. Thank you so much for meeting with us, said Kang Wu as the meeting ended. When can we sign the protection agreement? Soon, said Commander Zalthek. We must return to our fleet and discuss the terms. The humans gathered their scattered papers and devices. Kang Wu shook hands with all the Dominion officers using both of his small hands. His grip was weak and sweaty. We will wait for your answer, he said. Earth is ready to join the great Galactic Dominion. After the humans left, the Dominion officers laughed among themselves. That was the easiest negotiation ever, said Officer Krixta. They gave us their entire military database. Their weapons are pathetic, said another officer. We could conquer their planet in 1 day. Commander Zalthek nodded. Prepare the standard annexation documents. Earth will become another Dominion protectorate. But Vexithara sat quietly in the corner thinking. Something felt wrong about the meeting. The humans had seemed too eager, too careless with their information. She had been present at hundreds of first contact meetings, and new species were usually more careful. She looked at her notes again. The humans had revealed 47 defense stations, but the initial scan of their planet had shown 53 energy signatures. Where were the other 6 stations? And why had Kang Wu's accidental data transfer triggered their computer? Systems to download information about Dominion ship designs? Vexithara decided to watch the humans more carefully. Perhaps they were not as simple as they appeared to be. The neutral space zone buzzed with activity. 40 Dominion warships floated in perfect formation, their dark hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. Today marked Earth's first participation in large-scale military exercises with the Galactic Dominion fleet. Vexithera positioned her observation craft at a safe distance to record everything. Admiral Kim Tae commanded the human fleet from his flagship, a boxy gray vessel called the Soul. 12 other human ships accompanied him, all looking outdated compared to the sleek Dominion warships. Their hulls were covered with external equipment and random antenna arrays that stuck out in all directions. "Human fleet, this is War Commander Grixtal," came the deep voice over the communication channels. "Are you ready to begin the exercises?" "Yes, sir," replied Admiral Kim Tae in accented Galactic Common. "We are very excited to learn from your superior tactics and technology." War Commander Grixtal was a massive alien with red scales and 4 powerful arms. His flagship, the Dominator, was 3 times larger than any human vessel. Plasma cannons lined its hull like glowing teeth. "Today we will practice basic fleet formations," announced Grixtal. "Follow our lead and try to keep up with our movements." The Dominion ships began to move in a complex pattern. They spread out into an attack formation, then regrouped into a defensive wall, then split into hunting groups. Their movements were smooth and coordinated. Each ship knew exactly where to go. The human ships tried to follow. They bumped into each other. They went the wrong direction. Admiral Kim Tae's voice filled the radio channels as he tried to organize his confused fleet. "No, no! Left means port! Your other left!" he shouted at his captains. "And remember to adjust for drift when you turn." Yoon Soo was the tactical systems officer aboard the Soul. Her voice came through the communications, often as she tried to coordinate the human formation. "Sir, our formation computer is having trouble calculating the proper positions," she reported. "The software keeps crashing when I input the Dominion movement patterns." "Just do your best," replied Admiral Kim Tae. "Maybe we can ask our Dominion friends to slow down a little?" War Commander Grixtal sighed loudly. "Very well. We will reduce speed by half. Try to maintain basic formation discipline." Even at half speed, the human ships struggled. They fell behind the Dominion formation. Their weapons pointed in random directions. One human ship, the Busan, spun in a slow circle because its pilot could not figure out how to stop the rotation. "This is embarrassing," muttered Admiral Kim Tae on an open channel. "Our navigation systems are so primitive compared to yours. How do you make such perfect turns?" "We use quantum-linked guidance computers," explained Dominion Captain Veltar. "Each ship's computer communicates with all the others to maintain formation." "Quantum-linked computers," said Yoon Soo. "That sounds amazing. How does the quantum communication work? What kind of processors do you use?" Captain Veltar was happy to explain. "We use crystalline matrix processors with entangled particle communication arrays. The processing speed is approximately 1 billion calculations per second per core." 1 billion per second, gasped Admiral Kim Tae. "Our computers can only do about 10,000 calculations per second. No wonder we cannot keep up." The exercises continued with weapon practice. The Dominion ships fired at remote target drones. Their plasma beams hit every target perfectly. The targets exploded in bright flashes of light and metal debris. "Now the human fleet will demonstrate their weapons," announced War Commander Grixtal. The human ships moved toward the targets. Their weapons looked ancient compared to Dominion plasma cannons. Instead of energy beams, they fired small metal projectiles and simple chemical missiles. "These are kinetic projectile weapons," explained Admiral Kim Tae. "Very basic technology, but reliable." The human ships opened fire. Most of their shots missed the targets completely. The few hits barely damaged the practice drones. After 10 minutes of shooting, only 2 targets had been destroyed. "Your weapons are very traditional," said War Commander Grixtal diplomatically. "Yes, we know they are not very good," said Admiral Kim Tae sadly. "We have tried to build energy weapons like yours, but we cannot make them work properly. Could you tell us more about plasma cannon technology?" Captain Veltar began another technical explanation. He described the plasma generation process, the magnetic containment systems, And the targeting computers. Yunsu asked many detailed questions and took careful notes. Meanwhile, the human ships continued to struggle with basic maneuvers. During a simulated attack run, 3 human vessels collided with each other at low speed. No one was hurt, but the ships had to stop for repairs. "I am so sorry," said Admiral Kim Tae. "Our pilots need more training in 3-dimensional combat. We are used to fighting on the surface of planets, not in open space." "Space combat is very different from planetary warfare," agreed War Commander Grixtal. "It requires different thinking and different strategies." "Could you teach us some of your strategies?" asked Admiral Kim Tae. "We want to be useful allies, not a burden to the Great Dominion fleet." War Commander Grixtal spent the next hour explaining Dominion battle tactics. He described how they surrounded enemy fleets, how they concentrated fire on weak targets, and how they used their superior speed to outmaneuver opponents. The human officers listened carefully and asked many questions. They seemed especially interested in communication procedures and coordination methods. "Your tactical coordination is incredible," said Yunsu. "How do you share target information between ships so quickly?" "We use encrypted data bursts transmitted on multiple frequencies simultaneously," explained War Commander Grixtal. "Each ship receives complete battlefield information every 2.3 seconds. 0.3 seconds? Said Admiral Kim Tae. "It takes our ships almost a minute to share target data. What frequencies do you use? How is the encryption system designed?" The Dominion officers enjoyed showing off their advanced military technology. They explained their communication protocols, their sensor networks, and their command structure in great detail. During a practice battle between 2 groups of Dominion ships, something unexpected happened. The human ship Daegu suddenly began moving much faster than it had before. Its weapons fired with perfect accuracy, destroying 3 target drones in rapid succession. Its turns were sharp and precise. War Commander Grixtal noticed immediately. "Human vessel Daegu, your performance has improved dramatically. What changed?" There was a pause before Admiral Kim Tae answered. We made some adjustments to the engine settings. But I think we pushed the systems too hard. Look, the ship is slowing down again." Indeed, the Daegu quickly returned to its previous clumsy performance. Its weapons went back to missing most targets. Its movements became awkward again. "Our ships are not built for high-performance combat," explained Admiral Kim Tae. "We can push them harder for short periods, but then the systems overheat and we have to reduce power." Vexathara watched this exchange with great interest. She had been monitoring all the human ships with her sensors during the exercises. The Daegu had not just moved faster during those few minutes. Its entire sensor signature had changed. The energy readings were different. The weapon frequencies were different. Even the hull configuration seemed to have shifted slightly. It was as if the Daegu had briefly revealed its true capabilities before quickly hiding them again. Vexathara began checking her sensor logs more carefully. She found several other brief moments when human ships had shown unexpected performance. The Sol had fired a perfect salvo that destroyed 5 targets in 3 seconds, then immediately went back to missing everything. The Incheon had performed a complex maneuver that would have been impressive even for a Dominion ship, then pretended it was an accident. Each incident lasted less than 30 seconds. Each time the human crews had explanations. System malfunctions. Accidental overrides. Lucky shots. But the pattern was too consistent to be coincidental. The exercises continued for 6 more hours. The human fleet gradually improved, but they still seemed far inferior to the Dominion ships. Their formation flying remained sloppy. Their weapons were still primitive. Their tactics were basic and predictable. But Vexathara noticed other things. The human ships were always in perfect position to observe Dominion weapons tests. Their sensor arrays were pointed toward Dominion vessels even when they should have been watching the targets. And despite their clumsy performance, not a single human ship had suffered any real damage from collisions or system failures. During the final exercise, War Commander Grixtal announced a surprise scenario. "Enemy raiders have been detected approaching from the asteroid field," he said. "Both fleets will respond using standard intercept protocols." The Dominion ships immediately formed an attack formation and moved toward the simulated enemy position. Their movements were fast and coordinated. Plasma cannons powered up and locked onto targets. The human ships followed behind, struggling to keep up. But Vexithara noticed something interesting. Despite their apparent confusion, the human ships ended up in positions that gave them perfect observation angles of the entire Dominion battle formation. They could see every ship's position, every weapon's firing arc, and every tactical movement. Human fleet, maintain support position, ordered War Commander Grixtal. The outer rim of the galaxy was always a troublesome place. Wild systems with strange creatures and species who did not want to join the Dominion. This time, the problem was on a planet called Kepler 442. The native species, called the Thakari, had stopped paying tribute and were attacking Dominion supply ships. Vexithara's observation ship followed the combined fleet toward the rebel planet. War Commander Grixtal led 50 Dominion vessels, while the humans provided support with 15 of their smaller ships. This would be the first time human forces participated in a military suppression operation. Min commanded the human peacekeeping force from his ship, the Daejeon. He was a quiet man with serious eyes and a neat uniform. His second-in-command was Communications Officer An, a young woman who always seemed nervous when talking to aliens. Human fleet maintain formation behind our main force, ordered War Commander Grixtal as they approached the rebel system. This is primarily a Dominion operation. You are here to observe and provide support if needed. Understood, sir, replied Min in his calm voice. We are honored to assist the Dominion in maintaining galactic peace. The rebel planet looked beautiful from space. Blue oceans and green continents under white clouds. But Vexithara's sensors detected weapon installations on the surface and small defense ships hiding behind the planet's 3 moons. Rebels of Kepler 442, announced War Commander Grixtal on all frequencies. You have violated Dominion law by attacking our merchant vessels. Surrender now and your punishment will be merciful. The answer came from the planet's surface. A deep, growling voice spoke in broken galactic common. Dominion dogs go home. Thakari world belongs to Thakari people. We fight until last breath. The voice belonged to Thakmor, the rebel leader. Intelligence reports said he was a large, fierce warrior, with purple fur and sharp claws. He had united several Thakari clans against Dominion rule. Begin orbital bombardment of military targets, ordered War Commander Grixtal. Avoid civilian areas but destroy all weapon installations. The Dominion ships moved into attack positions. Their plasma cannons began firing at targets on the planet's surface. Bright beams of energy struck rebel bases and weapon platforms. Explosions bloomed like flowers of fire and smoke. The human ships stayed back and watched. Min asked many questions about the bombardment procedures. How do you identify military targets from civilian areas? He asked War Commander Grixtal. We use deep scan sensors to detect weapon signatures and troop concentrations, replied the commander. Civilian structures have different energy patterns. Very advanced, said Min. Our sensors cannot tell the difference so clearly. Could you share the scanning frequencies you use? War Commander Grixtal was happy to explain the technical details. The Dominion used multiple sensor types working together to create detailed maps of ground targets. Each sensor operated on different frequencies to detect different materials and energy sources. Communications Officer An seemed especially interested in the coordination between ships. How do you share target information so quickly between all the ships? She asked. Our communication systems are much slower. We use quantum burst transmissions with automatic relay protocols, explained Communications Captain Jextal. Each ship receives complete battlefield data in real time. Quantum burst transmissions, said An. Could you show me the communication procedures? We want to improve our systems to work better with Dominion forces. While the Dominion officers explained their technology, the bombardment continued. Most of the rebel weapon installations were destroyed within hours, but some rebels had hidden weapons in caves and underground bunkers that were hard to target from orbit. We need ground forces to finish the job, announced War Commander Grixtal. Deploy landing troops to sectors 4 through 7. Could human forces assist with the ground operation? Asked Min. We have troops trained for planetary peacekeeping missions. War Commander Grixtal considered this. Very well. Your forces can secure the civilian areas while Dominion troops handle the military targets. The human ships deployed small landing craft toward the planet's surface. Their craft were boxy and slow compared to Dominion assault pods, but they carried a reasonable number of troops. Vexthera monitored the communications between human ground forces and their ships. Omin coordinated the operation from orbit while So managed the communication links with troops on the ground. Human Team Alpha, report your position, said So into her headset. We are approaching the main civilian settlement, came a voice from the planet. No hostile contacts detected. The area appears peaceful. Good, said Omin. Remember, our mission is to protect civilians and prevent rebel recruitment. Use minimum force. But something strange began happening. The human ground teams kept reporting communication problems. Their radios would cut out at important moments. They would lose contact with their ships just when they were about to report critical information. Sorry, Command, came a crackling voice from the surface. Radio interference is very bad down here. Can you repeat the target coordinates? Communications are being jammed by rebel equipment, So reported to the Dominion fleet. Our signals keep getting scrambled. War Commander Grixtal sent technical assistance to help fix the human communication problems. Dominion signal experts worked with So to adjust frequencies and boost signal strength. They shared detailed information about their own communication systems and jamming countermeasures. Meanwhile, the ground battle continued. Dominion assault troops landed near the main rebel strongholds. They used heavy weapons and armored vehicles to attack the underground bunkers. The fighting was intense, but the superior Dominion technology slowly gained ground. The human troops reported different experiences. They encountered rebels in the civilian areas, but the fighting was lighter. Many rebels seemed to surrender quickly when faced with human peacekeepers. The rebels in our sector do not seem very aggressive, reported Omin. They appear to be mostly farmers and merchants, not trained fighters. That is normal, said War Commander Grixtal. The real warriors are hiding in the mountain strongholds. The civilians just need to be controlled until we eliminate the military threat. Over the next 3 days, the pattern continued. Dominion forces fought hard battles against well-armed rebel troops. The human peacekeeping forces dealt with smaller groups of civilians who surrendered easily. But Vexthera noticed some inconsistencies in the reports. The human communication problems seemed to happen at very convenient times. Whenever they were about to report important intelligence, their radios would fail. When they needed to coordinate with Dominion forces, the signals would get jammed. She also noticed that the rebels fighting the Dominion troops seemed to know exactly where the attacks would come from. They had prepared ambushes and traps in all the right places. Their tactics were sophisticated for a primitive species. On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. One of the human ground teams captured an important rebel leader during a raid on a supply depot. The rebel was brought to the main Dominion base for interrogation. The prisoner was a large Thakari with purple fur and fierce yellow eyes. He wore simple clothing and carried primitive weapons, but when he spoke, his voice was familiar. I am Velthor of the Mountain Clans, he announced proudly. I will tell you nothing, Dominion oppressors. War Commander Grixtal studied the prisoner. This is not Thakmor, the main rebel leader, but he is clearly an important commander. Begin interrogation procedures. The interrogation took place in a secure room aboard the Dominion flagship. Omin was present as an observer, along with several Dominion officers. The rebel answered some questions but refused to reveal the location of hidden weapon supplies or the plans for future attacks. But during the interrogation, Vexthera noticed something strange. When Omin asked questions, the rebel's body language was different. His posture was more relaxed. His eye movements seemed to follow a pattern, as if he was communicating in some kind of code. Vexthera decided to investigate further. She accessed the communication logs from the human ground forces and began analyzing the radio problems more carefully. The signal interference had very specific characteristics. It was not random jamming, but precise frequency blocking that only affected certain types of transmissions. She also examined the tactical reports from both human and Dominion ground forces. The Dominion troops had fought 17 major battles against well-organized rebel forces. The human troops had fought 43 smaller engagements against poorly organized civilians. The pattern was too convenient. It was as if someone had deliberately separated the real fighters from the civilian population. The humans always ended up dealing with the easier targets while the Dominion forces faced the most dangerous rebels. Vexathara began to suspect that the rebellion was not entirely what it appeared to be. Some of the rebels might actually be working with the human forces. The communication problems could be deliberate. The captured rebel leader might be providing information to Omin in secret. Her suspicions were confirmed during the final battle. War Commander Grixtal launched a major assault on the main rebel stronghold in the mountains. Intelligence reports said this was where Thakmor was hiding with his elite warriors. Daeho Kim brushed dirt from the strange metal panel buried deep in the ruins of Old Seoul. The morning sun cast long shadows across the forbidden zone where few humans were allowed to work. He had been digging here for 3 months, finding pieces of technology that should not exist. The Galactic Council said humans were young and weak. They said humans needed protection and limits. For 3,000 years they had kept humanity on their home world with strict rules about population and technology. Only 3 billion humans remained on Earth, now called Terra Minor by the alien rulers. Daeho did not believe everything the council said. The metal he found was too advanced, too old. It spoke of a different human story than what the aliens taught in schools. Find anything interesting? So Jin Park walked down into the dig site. She worked for the council but visited Daeho often. Her official job was to watch human activities and report problems. Her real feelings were more complex. Look at this. Daeho showed her symbols carved into the metal. These marks match the ones we found last week. I think they are instructions or warnings. So Jin knelt beside him and studied the symbols. She could read 17 alien languages, but these human marks were older than anything in the council records. What do you think they say? Before Daeho could answer, the ground shook. Both humans looked up at the sky where strange lights flickered between the stars. The lights were not normal. They pulsed and moved in ways that made Sojin's stomach twist. Across the city, alarms began to sound. The council's emergency broadcast filled the air in multiple languages. All citizens remain calm. Unusual stellar phenomena detected. Maintain normal activities, but Sojin knew the truth was worse. Her council communication device buzzed with urgent messages. She read them quickly, her face growing pale. What is it? Daeho asked. Ships, Sojin whispered. Massive alien ships appearing at the galaxy's edge. But not any species we know. The outer colonies have gone silent. They climbed out of the dig site as more lights appeared in the sky. These were not stars. They were explosions happening light years away, so bright they could be seen across space. Daeho grabbed the metal panel. Something about this moment felt important, like the artifact was meant to be found now. We need to see Wu Jin Lee. He knows the old stories better than anyone. The elderly historian lived in the traditional district where old Korean buildings still stood. Wu Jin was 93 years old and remembered stories his grandmother told him about the time before the council's control. They found him in his garden, staring at the strange lights in the sky. His weathered hands shook slightly, but his eyes were sharp and alert. You feel it too, Wu Jin said without turning around. The change coming. I have been waiting for this day my whole life. Waiting for what? Sojin asked. Wu Jin led them, inside his small house. The walls were covered with old papers, photographs and documents that the council believed were destroyed long ago. He pulled out a thick book written in Korean. 3,000 years ago humans were not weak, Wu Jin began. We were strong. So strong that other species feared us. We fought wars across the galaxy. We built weapons that could destroy stars. We changed ourselves in ways that made us more than human. Daeho placed the metal panel on the table. The council says humans were primitive when they found us. The council lies. Wu Jin opened the book and showed them pictures of massive human ships and warriors in advanced armor. Humans left Earth by choice. The strongest and smartest among us departed to explore beyond the galaxy. They promised to return if humanity was ever in danger. Why should we believe old stories? Sojin asked, though her voice carried doubt. Wu Jin smiled sadly. Because you work for the Council, and you know they are terrified. Their greatest fleets are being destroyed by something they cannot understand. Their most powerful weapons are useless. Sojin's device buzzed again. The message made her face turn white. The Nexus Collective's home system is under attack. They are calling for immediate evacuation. The attackers are not responding to any communication. What are these attackers? Daeho asked. Unknown species. Sojin read from her device. Ships of organic design. They seem to consume everything in their path. 3 star systems have gone completely dark. Wu Jin nodded gravely. The Void Reapers. My grandmother's stories mentioned them. Ancient enemies that eat civilizations and grow stronger. They come from the dark spaces between galaxies. The old man walked to an ancient radio hidden behind books. He began adjusting dials and frequencies while speaking in rapid Korean. If the stories are true, there is a way to call for help. A signal that reaches beyond normal space. Call who? Sojin demanded. The Wanderers, Wu Jin said simply. The humans who left us long ago. For an hour, he worked with the radio while Daeho and Sojin watched the sky grow stranger. More lights appeared and some stars seemed to disappear entirely. The Council's messages became more urgent and less believable. Then Wu Jin's radio crackled to life. Static filled the room, but underneath the noise was something else. A pattern, a rhythm. There, Wu Jin whispered. Do you hear it? Daeho listened carefully. The static seemed to form sounds almost like words, ancient Korean words that his grandfather might have used. The transmission lasted only minutes, but it changed everything. When it ended, the room was silent except for their breathing. What did it say? Sojin asked. Daeho translated slowly, hardly believing the words. We hear you calling. We remember our promise. The children of Earth will not face the darkness alone. We are coming home. Sojin's device exploded with messages. Council fleets across 3 sectors had been destroyed. Entire species were fleeing toward the galactic core. The unknown attackers were spreading like a plague, consuming everything. How long? Daeho asked Wu Jin. How long until they arrive? The old man looked at the metal panel Daeho had found. He traced the symbols with one finger and the metal began to glow softly. The artifacts are responding, Wu Jin said with wonder. After 3,000 years, they remember their purpose. The Wanderers are already here, just beyond our ability to see them. Through the window, the night sky began to change. New stars appeared where none had been before. But these lights moved with purpose, forming patterns that human eyes could almost recognize. Sojin received her final message from the Council that night. All human activity was to cease immediately. Terra Minor was being placed under military protection. No human would be allowed to leave their planet. They are afraid, she said, showing the message to the others. Good, Wu Jin replied. They should be. After 3,000 years of keeping us small and weak, they are about to remember why humans were once the most feared species in the galaxy. Daeho held the glowing metal panel and felt something change inside him. The artifact was not just a relic, it was a key, and it was beginning to unlock something that had been sleeping in human DNA for millennia. Outside, the new stars grew brighter. Somewhere beyond the edge of space, the Wanderers were coming home to a war that would decide the fate of all reality. The age of human weakness was ending.